You are the biggest loser. Goodbye. What is up, NBA fans? Shout out to my San Antonio Spurs fans. Welcome to TSR Sports, TGIF. The excruciatingly long NBA draft is over, both rounds, and I thought, you know what? Let's do some grading for all 30 teams. This is going to be a hybrid reaction and grade. I've got ESPN's article up on their grades. We're going to react to it. Spoiler, I did see the first two when everything was getting set up. But I'm also going to give my 2 cents and have my own grades for certain teams, probably for most of the teams. So let's just get right into it. I'll put the article in the comments below. The Atlanta Hawks in round number 1 drafted Asa Newell at 23. Yeah, I like this pick. And if we also can factor in the Kristaps Porzingis trade, I think it was an absolute home run for the Hawks, which I hate to say as a Spurs fan since we control the next 2 years' picks for them. But yeah, this was a great draft. I agree with the A. Newell 23. I had him ranked probably mid-teen, so dropping to 23. Good job, Atlanta. I hate to say it, but yes, good job, Atlanta. Boston Celtics, C+. They took Hugo Gonzalez in the first round and Amari Williams and Max Shulga in the second. I'm going to mess up some of these names, so just please bear with me. I was also surprised Gonzalez was taken late in the first round. So I'm probably going to go more a C on this one. Not a bad draft. I would say just an average one for the Celtics, who right now, of course, are decimating the roster. They were over the second apron with the payroll. I believe they're now under it by trading Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. So I don't want to say a real rebuild, but a reboot, if you will. The Brooklyn Nets. What is Brooklyn doing? They're the first team, I believe, in NBA history to draft 5 players in the first round. And their first 3 picks were all, what are we doing? All similar players, weren't they? Igor Demon was a bit of a reach at 8. I think he was more around the mid-teams too. I don't like what Brooklyn did. I do like the Danny Wolf pick at 27. I saw him going in the early 20s, but overall, if I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think I'd be very happy. I'm actually going to give this, first of all, I don't think he should have drafted 5 players. I'm actually going to be a little harsher on the Nets. I'm going to give them a D+. Sorry, D+ Nets. Con Knipple. This is the Charlotte Hornets. Okay. Taking Con at 4 I thought was a little bit of a surprise. I thought he would go later in the draft, maybe somewhere between 6 and 8. But still a good pick. And then getting Liam McNeely at 29, I thought for sure Liam was going to be in the early 20s. Ryan Kalkbrenner at 34, great pick. I don't know a lot about James at 33. I like this draft for Charlotte. I'm actually going to disagree with ESPN. I'm going to bump their grade up. I don't even A-. Charlotte, I like what you guys did. I thought this was a really good draft. A- for the Hornets. The Bulls, Noah Essengay at 12 and Lachlan Ulbrich 55. I was not watching at the point at the 55th pick. I don't think I'm as big on this draft as ESPN is. They gave him an A-. I think it was a good draft. It should be an interesting fit with Essengay and Buzel's from last year. I'm going to go more B+, somewhere in there. But a good draft. By the way, any draft grades that I give that are not good, I hope I'm wrong. I'm not wishing any of these players, even on teams that I'm not a fan of, I wish them all well. Tyrese Proctor at 49 and Salu Niang at 58. So only 2 second-rounders for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Be transparent with you guys. I don't know really anything about either of these players. Don't fall deep into the second round, so I'm going to agree with the B here. This is one of those. Don't have a lot to say because there wasn't a first rounder. The Dallas Mavericks. They had 1 pick. They had 1 job to do, and they didn't blow it. ESPN's giving them a B. Yes, it was a no-brainer by drafting Cooper Flag first overall. That's an A+. You want to just give it an A? Fine, because it was a no-brainer pick, but anything less than an A, I don't get. Denver Nuggets did not have a pick. Moving right along. Detroit Pistons took Chaz Lanier at 37. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the B. Don't have much to say on that. Next. The Golden State Warriors. Also only a... Wow, we have a couple of teams here in a row here with no first-round picks. And that was one thing that was interesting with the draft is so many teams did not have their own picks. If you look at the draft board, it's like, this pick is going to this person, this pick's going to this person. Nobody, I swear, owned their first-round pick after... Like, pick 13, and then after that, just, yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, the Warriors, I'm going to have to agree with the B. Don't know really about either player in the second round. Rockets incomplete, didn't have a pick, but they picked up Kevin Durant. So if you want to grade their trade, give it an A. The Indiana Pacers, so Cam Jones in the second round and Talon Peter. Again, these are players I'm not too familiar with. The second round, I'm sorry, we're running to a string of teams without a first rounder. Can we back to a first rounder? There you go. The Clippers took Niederhauser with the 30th overall pick and Sanders with number 50. I was actually shocked. Rasheem Fleming did not go in the first round. That's a player I was big on. Right, I was talking about Rasheer Fleming, excuse me. And seeing him fall out of the first round, I thought, LA, there you go. Niederhauser was a bit of a reach. I thought he was a second rounder. Yeah, I'm going to go with the C minus. I think that's fair. C minus. The Lakers with one pick. I do Thero. This seems like it was a pretty good pick from what I'm reading. Yeah, I'd B plus. I agree with that. The Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, they were pretty hard on the Grizzlies. C minus. Cedric Coward, number 11. Was that a reach? A lot of mocks. Hey, I mean, he was flying up the draft boards over the last few weeks, but was number 11 too high? They also took Javon Small at 48 and Jemai Mashak at 59, right near the end of the draft. To move up, they sent one of their unprotected Orlando first-round picks acquired in the Desmond Bane trade to move up 5 picks. I'm not a big fan of the move. Coward has great measurables. As a Spurs fan, made a lot of Spurs fans think of Kawhi Leonard. I'm going to give it a C. It's really going to be a 2 to be determined. If he ends up being a stud, then that grade's going to go up. This one's, I mean, granted, any player we're talking about, we don't know how they're going to turn out, but I do think this was a bit of a reach. But not a bad player to reach for. I'm going to go with a C on the Grizzlies. The Miami Heat, Kasparis Jakishionis. I always butcher his name, an A minus. He is a player that I saw ranked in the top 10 on many draft boards. At the very worst, a lottery pick in the Miami Heat. Got him at number 20. I'm giving this an A. Good job, Miami. I think that's an A in my book. Milwaukee with the second round pick, Markovich. B. Markovich. Got a grade to B, don't know anything about him. I've heard the name, I don't know anything about the player. The Minnesota Timberwolves, round 1, took Joan Berenger. I've heard his name pronounced 16 different ways this week at 17, and Rocco Zasarski at 45. Yeah, I have the same concerns ESPN has here. Is how's he going to work with Gobert? Is he going to eventually take over the spot? I still think it was a good pick. I'm going to give it a B. Minnesota likes their bigs. The New Orleans Pelicans. All right. Jeremiah Fears at number 7, which I got to say was a very surprising pick. I did not think the Pelicans were going to draft him. They took Derek Queen at 13 and then Micah Peavy at 40. The Phoenix Suns gave up an unprotected first round thing to move up 6 spots. Oh, they're talking about Kel Bridges. Is it going to say what the Pelicans gave up in here? I don't quite remember. It doesn't. Did they give anything up to move around? I don't remember from the draft because the draft is so freaking long. Based on the picks, I don't think it's an F. Help me out, guys. I mean, the Pelicans roster, which is decimated with injuries last year. Zion went down. DeJounte Murray, I believe, ruptured one of many players that ruptured their Achilles, so who knows if and when he'll be back. They traded out CJ, but they also brought in Jordan Poole. There's been so much movement. I'm drawing a blank. I'm starting to forget where some of the players went in the last few days. Yeah, I don't want to give it an F. A D. I'd like to pick up Queen. The New York Knicks, C+, round 2 pick, Mohamed Diawara. I've seen the name, don't know a lot about him. OKC. The rich keep on getting richer. The defending NBA champions had the 15th overall pick, and they still have a lot of picks moving forward, don't they? Draft Thomas Sober, number 15 overall. Brooks Barnheiser at 44. And I'm not sure Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be back with OKC. Aren't they going to have some cap issues with him? I believe his contract's up for renewal. Thomas Sober at 15. I like it. Actually, begrudgingly, I'm going to give the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to give him an A. I don't want to. I'm going to give him an A. I like it. I like what they do. I like what they've been doing. I'm going to give him an A. The Orlando Magic, Jace Richard at 25. Noah Penn at 32. Yeah. I think that's a good grabbing some shooting. That's what they need. I like it. I'm actually giving the Magic. I'm actually giving them an A as well. Jace Richardson was mocked much higher than 25, wasn't he? I like the Magic's draft. I'm giving them an A as well. The Philadelphia 76ers, VJ Edgecombe at number 3. Originally, the pick was supposed to be, we all thought Ace Bailey, but, well, we'll talk about him in a little while. And Johnny Broome at 35. I mean, Edgecombe, love it. The fit, wondering about the fit there in Philly. Best player available. You could argue Ace Bailey was at that point, but if we're factoring in playing ability and attitude, I'm going to put VJ over Ace Bailey. I like your draft. I'm giving it an A. I think it's a good draft by Philly. Phoenix Suns, round number 1, Common Malawach. It was amazing. It was just the emotion. Complete opposite. There's a picture, plenty of pictures online of this, where you see the picture of Ace Bailey pouting, and then Malawach, who just, the emotion, just how happy he was to be drafted. And he fell a little bit in the draft to 10, but he was still just so. So the Suns draft Malawach at 10, Fleming at 31, and Kobe Bree, is it Bree? Like Bree Cheese? At 41. Yeah, they just got Mark Williams, so it's a little odd that they drafted Malawach after bringing in Mark Williams, but they needed some bigs, and I like their draft. They gave him a B. Malawach, I thought would go somewhere between 6 and 8. They got him at 10. Rasheer Fleming, I had in the late teens. And they got him in the second round. A second-round pick. Phoenix, I disagree with ESPN. I'm giving them an A. That's awesome. Rasheer Fleming's a player I would have wanted on the Spurs if possible. Yeah, I think it's an absolute home run for them. The Portland Trailblazers. All right, this is where I might get some flack. I hate this. And I honestly and truly hope we can look back at this a year and be like, TSR, you are so freaking wrong. But Hansen Yang, is it Yang Hansen, taking him 16th overall. What is Portland doing? They drafted Don McClingan last year. They have DeAndre Ayton on their roster. They have multiple big men, and then they take another big guy. And somebody that was projected, in my board as well, in the late 30s. I don't have a board. I have a mental board of a lot of players. I didn't actually write up a board, but I saw him going in the late 30s, and I had said, as a Spurs fan, if he's available to pick 38, hey, I would love him at 38. Why not? He's a 7'2" big. Yes, but at 16, I think that's a huge reach, but I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I don't like giving out Fs, but that was probably the shock of the night in the NBA draft, is seeing him go 16. That was easily the biggest move. Good luck to you, young man. Hope it turns out well for you. But yeah, wow. Sacramento Kings took Nate Clifford at 24 and Maxime Reynaud, a player that I also wanted, at 42. I actually like what they did. I think Clifford, was mocked in the kind of mid to late 20s, so I believe, I'm drawing a little blank on where he was mocked, but I think he went around where he was expected to. And getting Reynaud at 42, I saw some mocks have him as a first rounder. I'm giving the Sacramento Kings a B. I think they did a good job. My San Antonio Spurs, and if you're watching, probably your San Antonio Spurs, and there's a lot of Spurs fans on this channel. Dylan Harper at 2, that was the obvious pick. Carter Bryant at 14 was expected to go maybe a little higher than 14. The Spurs got him. The only thing stopping me from giving this as an A+ is I don't like what they did on draft night, trading the second round pick before the draft even started. Hold on to that pick. Maybe there's a player available that somebody else really wants, and then trade it then. Trading it before, I thought that was a mistake. And there was obviously a player on the board I wanted at 38. I would have taken Reynaud. They didn't see it. Fine, whatever. I'm going to give the Spurs an A as well. Had they gotten maybe a Reynaud at 38 or somehow got Fleming in the second round or moved up to get him, then this would have been an A+. But still, great draft for the Spurs. Excited to see where they are going. The Toronto Raptors, this was a shock for me. Seeing CMB, Colin Murray-Boyles, go at 9, I expected him to go late lottery, maybe even slip slightly out of the lottery, but late lottery, and have him go in the top 10. Apparently, that's what they think they need. I'm not as in love with it as ESPN. I'm going to give it a B-. They also took Martin at 39. We're almost done, my friends. Woo. Hindsight's 2020 because a lot of Utah content creators did their draft grades yesterday. And I now have the knowledge that Ace Bailey did not report to Utah today. He was supposed to, from what I understand, but he did not. We have the knowledge now that that is one of the teams he appears to not want to be drafted by. Who knows if he's going to report Monday? So right now this pick is looking bad. I wasn't in love with it at 5. Utah has a lot of bigs, but just Ace Bailey. Yes, a very talented player, but the attitude is just rubbing me the wrong way, and now it's looking bad. I don't think he'll sit out the year because that's his option, guys. If he decides not to report to Utah, he's got to sit out the year. If he plays overseas, and I believe the Utah Jazz still own his contract rights, he can't go back. I don't think he can go back to college. If he does, he's still on his rights. He's literally got to not play basketball for a year to be eligible to re-enter the draft next year. And if he does that, who the hell's going to take him? Who's going to draft him at that point? After you just totally hosed another team, rock in a hard place. You know, best player available talent-wise, yes, Bailey's there at 5, but Clayton Jr., I think they reached on that one a little bit too. Wasn't he projected to be a late first rounder as far as John Tani at 53, don't know anything about him. I don't like this draft to the Jazz, and right now it's looking even worse. So at this moment in time, I'm giving him a D-. If Bailey reports to the Jazz, does what he's supposed to do, and is a professional and plays basketball and plays well, then hey, that grade would obviously change in retrospect. But right now, oh boy, it's not looking good. And I'm not a Utah Jazz fan. I have 2 friends that are Jazz fans. I hope he does the right thing and reports. Young man, don't screw up your NBA career. Stop listening to your agent. Go play for the Jazz. And if you want to just bug the hell out of Danny and just say request a trade, fine, so be it. But go do your job and make millions of money, for you and your family. All right, the Washington Wizards. Trey Johnson at 6, Will Riley at 21, Jameer Watkins at 43. Yeah, B-. All right, yeah, nothing crazy, nothing, yeah, I'm fine with that. All right, so there you go. There are my grades. Do you agree with some of them? Do you agree with mostly all of them? Do you disagree with all of them? This was this is the first time I've done something like this on this channel where, yes, I didn't give my own grades on everybody, but I had a lot of grades in my head. The teams here certainly did. I certainly had opinions, too, on teams like the Nets with the 5 players. There are other teams where I really liked what they did, like the Hornets and Suns. Your thoughts, though? If you're a fan of one of the teams we're talking about, how would you grade your team's draft? I know there's going to be a lot of San Antonio Spurs fans watching this, and I can't imagine anybody's giving the Spurs less than an A. But if you are giving the Spurs less than an A, why? Who would you have taken over Carter Bryant? Would you have actually taken somebody over Dylan Harper? If you're a Jazz fan and watching, what are your thoughts right now at the Ace Bailey situation? That's all I got, guys. Love to hear your feedback on the draft, your thoughts on the 2 rounds. Hit the thumbs up, like, support the channel, subscribe, become part of our awesome sports community. I thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.